All right, back to basics putting segment. Right, so this putting segment here, the Back to Basics putting segment, brought to you by one of my sponsors. It's the ProPath Putting Mirror, Colin. It's one that Grant Field and Richard Woodhouse designed, who coaches Cam Smith, Grant Field. It's got a 15-degree putting arc when you're looking down at it, right? And basically what that arc is 12 degrees and 19 degrees is the average on the PGA Tour putting arc. So we have it cut at 15, helps you kind of see a bird's eye view of how your putter faces opening and how it's moving throughout the putting stroke. But the Back to Basics putting segment, Colin, is that do you have a putting tip or putting exercise that you like to use regularly, or something that you could share with us in the Back to Basics putting segment?
I would say working on your finish, because most people like what a putting finish versus what a golf swing finish feels like. So putting is a different kind of muscle structure in the core, because the hips and the feet aren't open.
Yep.
So what I have my students do is show me what this finish will be like.
Yep.
And their shoulders sometimes roll open. So it's getting that shoulder to actually create some structure, and then the putter head won't flip around. So it's just really feeling what finish should feel like. Obviously your shoulders are tilted. Yep. And then taking it back symmetrical, the same distance, and going back to that exact spot. So the ball is just in the way and you won't poke at it.
It's very interesting.
Really feeling what finish is like here. And it's pretty successful with some of them, everyone's different, but it's just really feeling in your core, staying obviously slightly in extension when you're putting. You don't want to be like, But the idea is, most people's shoulders are too rounded, so then the arc gets rounded. But it's just understanding like what it feels like in here, how different it is than a chip, pitch, short game, bigger swing. It's just feeling what that.
I like it. So when
that finish feels like,
when you got the follow through position there and you can measure it, right? Because the follow through tells us a story of what's happened prior. Is what I'll always say to my students in all. Like when I'm working on a full swing exercise, I'll talk about P9, a certain position that we want to see, arms, tilting, structure, all that business. But when you're talking about a follow through position, there is you're looking at the club face angle. Are you trying to see there if it's more open or more closed, or you're trying to anticipate a desired position to be in to try and help, I guess, mitigate what they do prior to that?
Yeah. I mean, think about that, right? If they're opening it through, then they'll notice it right away.
Okay.
And it gives them awareness. It gives them instant feedback, being like, okay, wow, I'm over here. I need to be, because there's most people, they just want to hit the ball and make it go in the hole. But if we focus on a certain kind of mechanic, almost a mechanical, I don't want to call it memory, but a mechanical, let's just call it memory, of what it feels like to get to that end result.
Yeah.
Because what most people do is they think, oh, it's a pendulum, so I'm just going to go, and then they just die.
Interesting.
But actually giving it that purpose, then the club has natural torque. The shaft has natural torque, however the putter is built, whether it's toe heavy, face balance, torque balance, whatever. I mean, there's all different kinds of putters now.
Yeah.
But if we can manage to go here and here instead of, and then there's like, it's just floating the abyss.
Yes.
We're managing to go, okay, I know what it feels like to be here. I can go, and it gives you a conscious end. What I love about tour players is the ending. The finish is so deliberate.
Yeah, okay.
Very, very few of them ever decelerate, ever, because the finish is so deliberate. It's not like back, forth. It's back, forth, and it's done. The ball explodes, and the torque of the shaft actually goes, okay, let's work together.
Interesting.
We got it.
So you kind of like that little bit of, you like to see a little bit of a, can I use the term poppy type of stroke? But you don't want to see people decelerate. But there is, when you do strike the putter, right, the ball, when we do crash into the golf ball, the putter does slow down a little though, because it's getting struck, right? So when we drop the pendulum right this way here and we hit the ball, we'll often see a follow through is about, I'm going to say, just for sakes of the segment here, half the length of the backstroke, right? But what you're still saying is getting to there with purpose and not just quitting at the ball.
Yeah, and I try to get my students to understand is like, if we go to 2-to-1 pace, a 2-to-1 distance, with a 3-to-1 pace.
Yeah.
Because 3-to-1 is optimal when dealing with triangles.
Yes.
That's all we're really dealing with. Your foot's a triangle. The club is practically a triangle. And the angle of the shaft is a triangle too.
Yeah,
so
I get you.
if we can manage the pace along with the distance, we'll have a good stroke.
Great. I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
And then sometimes people are concerned, what if I'm end to out or out to in? Like, I mean, that's okay. But if you're in to out, you better hit the toe of the club.
Okay.
And if you're out to in, you better hit the heel. That's not like I'm going to be like, that's not perfect, because it'll go in.
Yes.
But we want an ideal baseline, of course.
Yeah, cool. Well, I like that. Well, that brings us to the end of the Back to Basics putting segment. Link is below. TM15 gets you 15% off. Support the people that support the podcast.